My name is Lisa Leali. I'm the proud superintendent of Lake Bluff District 65, and I'm here today to talk a little bit about parent communication. We know there's been some questions in the community about how parents can find out how their student is doing or what is happening in school with their students. And I want to just give a brief overview of how we think about parent education here in Lake Bluff, what our conversations have been, and what we're working on for the future. So, as background, there is a system for parent communication in every school district. The work of the system is to try to address all different types of parent communication that are needed. There are many times when certain types of communication just don't address the need that a parent really has. And there are some pieces of communication that are easier for parents, some parents to digest, harder for others to digest. There's lots of different modes, there's lots of different reasons, and the timing can be difficult sometimes too. I'm a parent of three students who many times, like right now, are in three different organizations, three different school districts. And I'm receiving a lot of communication, some of which I read really intently and I'm really focused on, and some of which I don't really read. So what we're trying to do is strike a balance of what's the most important, when is the right time, and how do we get parents the information they need when they need it. So here's all the parts of our communication system that we talk about making sure are meeting the needs of our parents. One are report cards. As you know, we've been talking about report cards here for some time, and these are important kind of trimester ways for a parent to get a big idea of how their student is performing relative to the grade level standards. We recognize that sometimes these can be difficult to understand. And so that's why we're hoping that when you do have a difficult time understanding it, you reach out to your child's teacher, either through an email or a phone call or a parent-teacher conferences, which is the next part of our parent communication system. These are super important to us. And as you know, at the middle school, we're always trying to improve how we do those and how we make sure that our parents have access to as many people as they want to talk to. A big important part of that process has also been that our students have been involved in presenting to their parents. Although based on feedback, we're trying to scale that back a little bit and make sure there's time for teachers just to talk to parents, because sometimes we want students to kind of be away from that conversation so we can really dig into the things that are making us curious. Learning management systems are another way that we communicate with parents, specifically Seesaw and Schoology or Google Classroom, there might have been in the past. We're looking with our technology committee to streamline which of those learning management systems make the most sense and what information should be coming home to parents through those systems. In the terms of Seesaw, there's sort of more student involvement with what goes in and goes home. And obviously Schoology is what we use in the middle school so that parents can check on their child's grades or homework, and there can be a conversation home about that. We also believe heavily in discipline or behavior and recognition systems. So our pause and bluffer cards and calls that come home from our principal to the parents to celebrate what great things kids are doing, as well as the referral cards that come from teachers to parents at the middle school. These are ways that we keep parents in the loop about what's going really well and what we're still struggling with. We continue to work on what's the most effective timing, how often, are all of our kids receiving feedback this way, because we think it's really important. We have some large scale testing reports that go home. As you know, our MAP reports come home, our IAR, which is our state testing reports, come home. And then later this year, you'll be getting some reports from a new program that we're using for assessment at elementary called AIMSweb. AIMSweb is one that we put in place because we are making sure that we're assessing the foundations of reading in alignment with the science of reading principles. So those big large scale reports come home throughout the year as well. Newsletters and weekly updates, those come from the building and then sometimes from the grade level teams. We get feedback sometimes that those aren't the most useful communications for parents, and some parents really love it. So we're trying to find a balance of what's the best information to come home every week from the teachers and teams. We, of course, present to our Board of Education at Board of Education meetings. Everyone's welcome to come to those or look at the YouTube recordings. Those are ways that we kind of present on big initiatives or discussions that we're having in the district. And those are, of course, open for people to attend, but they're all recorded and online as well. And then we have our curriculum nights, special parent events, the fan events that we advertise, and parent support programming. Those might go along with special things like when Jesse Weinberger came, or when we have a parent event for something like our Aaron's Law presentations. Those are also ways that we communicate about what we're talking about with kids. Then we have news and announcements and celebrations and our social media profile. So lots of ways we're trying to show the good things that are happening or keep people informed in the ways that they consume information. Some of them are great and get a lot of traction, some not so much. So we continue to monitor that. But as many people know that technology and social media are a conversation ongoing in the district. And so we are revisiting whether or not our social media presence is what it should be at this point. We know that we have a lot of teachers with individualized Instagram accounts posting pictures of kids. And while those are private, for the most part, we're not sure that that's the best way to contribute to a student's online footprint. We actually think we'll be scaling those back in the future and streamlining our communication towards more formal channels. And finally, excuse me, we're talking really carefully about student work and progress reporting. What I hear most from parents is, how do I know day to day what my student is working on and how they're doing in school? And to be honest, that's something that we're just going to start trying to do more of. We have been working with teachers to pick the right things and the right timing for things. And I think that this is just a conversation that we haven't had in a while. And so the conversation is happening. And I believe over the next month or two, parents are going to start to see more daily work coming home from their classroom teacher. All of this to say, we're working to align all of our communication practices with what parents want most, need most, while also avoiding over communication or redundancy, a ton more work for our teachers and staff, and also privacy issues. So there's a lot that goes into the decision making around communication. Just know that we're on it and we're trying to improve. No matter what I just said, if you have questions, please reach out to your child's teacher with those questions about your student's progress, or if you haven't seen anything come home in the last couple of weeks. I know that sometimes things get lost in my child's folder, and I need to sometimes just reach out to the teacher to find, did I miss something? Because that's an important piece that we can't overlook. And it's not the child's fault. We all know that things get busy. So if you have questions or suggestions or feedback, please reach out to your child's teacher, your child's principal, or me with any suggestions, and we will consider those as we move forward in our planning for improvement. Most of all, thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of our journey. Please reach out if you have anything, and every student, every day. That's what we do here. Take care. See you soon.